Hello, football fans. A lot happened in Week 9, but I'm just going to bring it down to the bare essentials and the key things that stood out for this week. So, with that, let's get our first category underway. Thursday night football. The answer is these two teams who met in last year's NFC Championship faced off in a rematch that, despite injuries and positive tests, was pretty thrilling. The correct response: who are the Packers and the Niners? Yes, those two teams kicked off Week 9, and the Packers were able to defeat the cooked Niners. Yes, they were filled with injuries. Pretty much a lot of the key players were out, but the fact is you had to beat who was on the field, and it was a team effort. It wasn't just Rodgers, but Aaron Jones showed out his first game back. Devontae Adams did his thing. Even Marquez Valdez-Scantling scored 2 touchdowns after a bad drop early in the game. And the Packers defense did things. Actually did things. That's all I ask. A team effort from the Packers. We're moving in the right direction, and we're avenging that loss to Minnesota. On to the next category. My favorite: fraudulent quarterbacks. The answer is this quarterback, who was known for single-handedly costing his team games, did so again. Did so again in a key game against Buffalo on early Sunday. The correct response: who is Russell Wilson? Yes, Renegade Russ did it again. 4 turnovers, 2 interceptions, 2 lost fumbles. Has all that great defense, that great offensive line, and all those good receivers. But as usual, he's the one that screws up. And because of Russ's inability to tie his shoes without Sierra's help, Seattle lost 44-34. Wow. Amazing what a screw up that guy is. Anyway, let's stay on fraudulent quarterbacks for a second. The answer is this quarterback on Sunday Night Football had a terrible offensive outing against one of the worst defenses in the league, throwing 3 interceptions and no touchdown passes. If the other quarterback who wears the same number as him had such a game, he never would. But if he did, he would be crucified. This quarterback, however, avoids all accountability. The correct response: who is Tom Brady? He continues to prove me right that he can't handle the NFC. No touchdowns, 3 picks, absolutely no offense against a team, one of the few teams with worse defense than the Packers do. But if Rodgers ever had such a game, he's terrible. But when Brady has it, it's somebody else's fault. Accountability, that's all I ask. Be unbiased. Learn from me, because I hold everybody accountable. I don't play favorites. Okay. But it was a good outing by the Saints, though, 38-3. They're on the right track, too, supposedly. Anyway, on to a new category. Awesome returns. The answer is this quarterback, who already returned this season for the first time since his terrible injury 2 years ago, stepped in again after his fellow quarterback suffered the same exact injury, I believe, on the anniversary of his own. He nearly brought his team uh, back from behind and nearly got him a win. But despite his best efforts, it was not enough. The correct response: who is Alex Smith? Forgive me if I sounded a little bit emotional. We all love Alex Smith. I know I do. Good quarterback, better person, just easy to root for. And his career's had a lot of bumps. We all know what happened in San Francisco. He got passed over by Colin Kaepernick, which I still say was the right move because I don't think Alex was ready for prime time back then. But by the time he got to Kansas City, he was definitely ready. He was pretty damn good. Then all of a sudden they got rid of him again in favor of Patrick Mahomes. And I remember being upset at that because Mahomes, I didn't know who he was. Who is this guy? And why did he earn the right to be the starter? He had to earn it. And he eventually did. He had a hell of an MVP season in his second year and ended up winning the Super Bowl. So Alex Smith ended up in Washington, and of course we all know what happened there. He had that bad injury, which was on the exact anniversary of Joe Theismann getting hurt. And we saw him return a few weeks ago in a game against the Rams. He had to get in again because Kyle Allen got badly injured, and Washington was way behind. They were down 20-3, but he tried his best. He went out there. He nearly brought him back, but he came up short. He threw 3 picks that game. Giants had a hell of a game off defensively with 5 takeaways, including intercepting Smith 3 times. But he really tried his best. He really tried his best that game. He really did, and he really he really showed out. He really showed out. I mean, this is the hardest he had to play since he came back. So obviously, those 3 interceptions can't be held against him. 'Cause, but and we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see a lot of him because unfortunately, Kyle Allen's injury is pretty bad. I think he may be out for the year or close to it. So we'll see a lot of Alex Smith. That should help Washington. I really think it should because I think because he's pretty good. He's a good quarterback, and this is his chance to prove it again. And now on to our final category, another one of my favorites, lost causes. And no, this is not about Russell Wilson, even though he is one. The answer is this team who had never won this season had a big lead twice and had a chance to beat a team that was really, really down, and I mean really down, but still managed to blow it. The correct response, who are the New York Jets. I really thought the Jets were going to win that game, and I'm really upset that they didn't because I didn't want them to be a joke. No, they're going to be a joke anyway. I didn't want them to be a futile joke, to go 0-16, to make that, to be on that bad end of perfection. They had this game. They really had it, and they just lost it. So now they're 0-9. They're the first team to quit your losing season, and it seems a little. It's just terrible, and they really want Adam Gase's head up there. Excuse me. They really want Adam Gase gone. I mean, think about it. Donald Trump, thank God, got fired, but Adam Gase hasn't. It's amazing. Excuse me. But yeah, it's bad with the Jets. 0-9. I think they're going to be 0-16. I really do. I think this is their one and only chance to get a win, and I don't see them getting one this year. But those are the things. Those are all the things that stood out this in this week 9, and obviously the format that I the format that I took is obviously my homage to another icon, Alex Trebek, who passed on this past Sunday, and of course I've said this before on Twitter. To say I grew up watching Jeopardy is an understatement. Since I was 5 years old, 30 years I've watched that show every night at 7 o'clock. So of course Aaron Rodgers was actually a contestant on Celebrity Jeopardy. Of course, like he did in the football field, he dominated. But so big loss to all of us who watch that show for as long as we have. But On to the subject at hand, and that is what's in store for us for week number 10. That's right, we've reached double digits. We've reached double digits. Week 10 starts tomorrow with the battle in the AFC South. Colts and Titans, games in Nashville. Um, and as far as Sunday's action, the first place Eagles, the only team in the NFC East who didn't lose last week. That's because he didn't play. They face the Giants. Packers host the Jaguars. Um, the Dolphins, who are now 2-0 with Tua, they host the Chargers. The Saints, coming off that Sunday night win, host the Niners. Seahawks are in LA to face the Rams. The Steelers, who stayed undefeated, barely surviving Dallas. Um, they host the Bengals, so they'll be 9-0. The Sunday night game is Patriots and Ravens. And the Monday night game is Vikings and Bears, an interesting NFC South matchup. This Packers fan will definitely be invested in watching. So that's my review of week number 9. And I'll be back to review week 10 next week. So until then.